What's more likely, Cakes? A Jayden Daniels MVP in his second season
Yeah.
or a sophomore slump?
Jayden Daniels MVP.
I know where he's going with that.
Jayden Daniels MVP. I mean, he's scratching the surface as a rookie. He gets upgrades to the offensive line. He gets a new weapon in Deebo Samuel. Bring back Noah Brown. Terry McLaurin's going to get re-inked to an extension at some point. Arrows pointing up. No sophomore slump. No step back in year two.
I tend to agree with you. If you want to chime in, 800-636-1067. Just put it up as our poll of the day, brought to you by Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka and Surfside Lemonade and Vodka, the perfect addition to any gathering. Each can only 100 calories with zero carbonation for easy sipping. You can find Surfside at your local bar and in convenient variety 8-packs at your local liquor stores. Must be 21. Please drink responsibly. Here's the thing about sophomore slumps. Happens to some guys, but we've also heard people say that rookie quarterbacks who get playing time tend to have a sophomore jump. And let's take a look at C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud, really good rookie campaign. Would you say last season was a sophomore slump? Maybe. He didn't play terrible.
I mean, the numbers just weren't as good.
Well, you also have to factor in Nico Collins missed a big stretch of the season.
Yeah.
Tank Dell had an underwhelming season. He went out with a major injury at some point. I can't remember exactly when that was. So you take your two of your top three offensive weapons away from a quarterback, they'll tend to struggle. These things can happen.
800-636-1067.
I mean,
so I would vote MVP
Stroud,
is more likely.
If you look at Stroud's first 2 years, 23-5 and then 20-12, and then 38 sacks to 52 sacks. The ratings and the QBR were significantly lower. Completion percentage was 8 points lower. Actually, no, sorry. No, it was about it was pretty even. Sorry, but yards were down. So I would say for Stroud in particular, the numbers were considerably down.
So you'd consider it a slump?
I would consider that a slump, yes.
Maybe some people would think that it's going to be a slump. They were 12-5 last year. Some of us said they might have a better team, but don't win as many games this year. The thing about Jayden, I don't feel like his game is a gimmick. He runs. I don't think he's like RG3, which it felt like more of a gimmick, that the league wasn't ready for read option. And then once you took that away, he faded into obscurity.
Well, part of the reason why he faded away, too, is that the running was diminished. It wasn't the same. Maybe that would happen if Jayden had a similar injury. Do we know, by the way, if those viral photos of him looking all jacked were, like, real? Like, allegedly he has put on a few pounds, but I listened to Keim, and he said he's put on a little bit, but he doesn't look like he's like Schwarzenegger.
Well,
Kingsbury said the same thing.
We had Javala on last week, and she said he didn't look that
he looked
much
the same.
different.
Yeah. So what were those photos? Were they like AI?
Maybe.
No. I think sometimes your arm can look like at the shadow.
Yeah.
I think he's slightly bigger.
Yeah.
Like
they said his arm strength was actually a little bit better.
His frame's about the same, but like he maybe did curls. So his biceps are a little bit bigger. Maybe he went out there
right after he lifted. It's like when Valdez goes to the beach, you got that pump in before he goes to the beach.
Then you peel your shirt off.
Yeah.
Flex them.
But I'd vote an MVP campaign is more likely. He can win he was top 10 in the MVP last year. What did he finish, 7th?
I don't know.
I think he finished 6th or 7th.
Yeah, roughly.
I mean, to be MVP, we were talking about this during the break. Valdez brought it up. It's true. Your team has to be really good. So you got to be one of the top 2 teams probably in your division. They should be able to do that.
I think
no, you have to be the 1 or 2 seed in the conference. Like you have to be the number 1 or number 2 seed.
Because they're not going to.
I think it's more likely.
Wild card teams usually don't.
Wild card teams
don't have MVPs.
He's not going to win MVP, but he's also, I don't think, going to have. He's closer to being an MVP. Like he'll move up in that versus having a cataclysmic.
Well, it also
season.
It depends on how you define slump. I mean, some people would say, all right, so if he had 25-9 last year, right? It was 25-9. Completed 69% of his passes. Obviously, he ran for a ton of yards. So if he has 23-10 next year, some people will say, "Oh, that was a slump."
I would actually say I would be disappointed if he only throws 23 touchdowns.
Yeah, okay.
If he plays 17 games.
So you would say that would be a slump.
I would say it would be a disappointment.
He's going to be higher than.
I think. I put him on 30.
But what if he increases the touchdowns but also increases the interceptions?
I expect that to happen.
Yeah.
30.
So it
30
just
and
depends.
12 is a good, like, I would be happy with
Are
that.
you including rushing touchdowns, or that's just 30 passing touchdowns?
Passing. I don't know. I think he'll run for a bunch, but I don't know. Like getting in the end zone, I don't know how that. I can't. How do you predict that on run? I don't know.
Well, I mean, if he runs for 900 yards, I'm going to expect him to score six or seven touchdowns.
I don't think he's going to run for as many yards as last year.
Maybe he runs for 800.
I mean, that's only 90 yards less.
He was scratching 900 last year, and he missed chunks of games.
I just think that maybe he's not going to run quite as much. Hopefully not going to need to. Not going to need to save us.
Need to look at his rushing total, his prop.
So Jayden did finish 7th in the MVP race last year. Here were the guys ahead of him. Josh Allen wins the MVP. Lamar Jackson 2nd. Saquon Barkley 3rd. But really a distant 3rd. Quarterbacks, if you look at the points, there's 378 points to 352. So pretty close. First place votes were all to Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, 27 to 22. After Barkley, Joe Burrow was 4th, Jared Goff 5th, Mahomes 6th, Jayden Daniels 7th. So last season he finishes
think about that.
6th amongst quarterbacks.
Think about that. The fact that Burrow was 4th, and he was distantly 4th. That guy threw 43 touchdowns and had 9 picks. Mm-hmm. He had an unbelievable year.
His team missed playoffs.
I know. That's what it comes down to. That's why we're talking about
because they never win in September.
Mm-hmm. I just don't think he's going to have
early
a year.
Games.
I just don't think he's going to have a year where he drops off significantly, where it's like 24 and 18 or something. Like he's just an interception machine.
So you're hovering between the two. You got to vote for one. He's going to win the MVP, or he's going to have a sophomore slump.
In a vacuum, or whatever, the dichotomy like that, I would take MVP. He's not going to have a slump. Yeah. He's not going to have a massive slump.
If it's one or the other, you'd say MVP, but it's probable that he's not going to win the MVP and he's not going to have a slump.
I would bet on this, and Cakes would probably bet. He might take my bet. And I'm pro Jayden. I think he's going to the Hall of Fame. I want to always preface that. But I won't be shocked. I would probably bet, out of just like a pure numbers thing, he's going to probably throw a couple more interceptions, right? It's hard to only throw less than 10 every year. And I would bet he's probably going to rush for less than he did last year. That doesn't mean it's going to be a worse year.
He might. I mean,
that's just like within realm of reason.
On FanDuel right now, for 750 plus regular season rushing yards in 2025, Jayden Daniels is plus 110.
Right, so that's the number.
I'd take the over. He might run for less. We don't know how Cliff Kingsbury is going to treat it, right? If you look at season 1 with Jayden Daniels, he started off very conservative. Then you saw Jayden starting to run the ball a little bit more and get more comfortable as the season progressed. Then they have kind of the hiccup where they lose 3 games in a row. And then you said, let Jayden cook. And he pretty much did after that.
Yeah, because
he led the team in rushing.
They needed him. He had to
led the team in rushing in weeks 15, 16, and 17. I think Mariota led the team in rushing in week 18.
You think
the running backs weren't able to have much success, so Jayden just took over.
Don't you think now with Laramie Tunsil there anchoring the left side and assuming Connerly gets to where they think he's going to get in that offensive line, moving guys inside.
He won't have to run as much.
He's not going to have to run as much.
Well,
because he's going to be able to execute those throws.
He's their best runner. He's the best runner on the roster. It's not even close.
I think he's the best athlete on the team.
I brought this up last week.
But the design runs might decrease.
You could say Lamar Jackson's running less, but it's not dramatically less.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be like he's only going to rush for 300 yards. I'm saying like maybe 100 yards less.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just don't expect him to rush for 1,000 yards.
But I think that when Jayden is your best weapon, particularly on 3rd and shorts and 4th and shorts, the reason they had such a great conversion rate is they put him on the edge and were like, make a play.
Right.
And Jayden made a play. Like, those are things that Cliff Kingsbury doesn't really scheme up. It's because you got Jayden Daniels there.
But he
how many times
converted 3rd and 4th downs where the play collapsed and he just took off.
That's what I'm saying.
It was Jayden. But he's not going to have to do that as much, hopefully, with a better line, with better protection.
I don't know. I just think that's part of his game,
too. He has an uptick in rushing because the line is so much better, and they just keep leaning into his superior rushing ability.
Yeah, but they don't want to if they don't have to. They want him to just kill you from the pocket if they can in a perfect world.
Yeah, but they also want to blend. They know
they're going to do a blend.
They know that his rushing is special. And I don't think they're going to dial it back that much. Like he had 148 carries last season.
Yeah, but how many of those were designed?
I don't know. I'm just going by
honestly 100. Let's say 100.
No idea.
I wouldn't know either. I would say the designed might be similar, but him having to take off and run might be less.
Here's what I would say. I would want him to continue running. Like I'm looking at Kyler Murray's stats. Kyler Murray, his second season in the pros, ran for 819 yards. Then, when people started to question whether he was a good quarterback, he only ran for 400 back-to-back seasons. Now, he had some injuries in those seasons. And then last season, 572. Like, when was he at his best, I think, was that second year when he was running as much as he did. Like, don't make a dual-threat quarterback just a single-threat quarterback.
They're not, but the team's gotten better. So I think they're going to have to rely on him to be a freak, hopefully a little less.
Yeah, I'd say a little less.
Yeah.
But towards the end of the season, last 4 or 5 games, he was running more than 10 times per game.
Yeah.
So maybe dial it back to 8 or 9. Don't dial it back to 5.
Well, I'm not sure that was designed. Half of those are when the play collapsed.
I would say half were probably designed.
Say half.
Yeah.
The play collapsed, and then he would have to create something with his genius, ability. But I don't think they wrote in there, we're going to run him 10 times a game.
Yeah, but that ability to make plays off schedule, as they say, that's part of the reason they drafted him. That's part of the reason Dan Quinn said he was a game changer.
Well, he's also a game changer because he's so good without it, too.
He's very good at both, but I don't think they're going to dial back to rushing as much as you might think.
I'm not saying the design stuff.
Like he had 148 carries last year. I think he's 130. I don't think he gets reduced by that much.
That might be what I'm talking about. I'm not saying 50.
Kyler Murray's been in the league for 6 years. Jayden Daniels outrushed him for all of his years in year 1.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was with him going out with a rib injury after the first series in the Panthers game.
And look, I think he's better than Kyler Murray, but when we saw Kyler Murray this year, when he doesn't run the football, he's not good.
He's very mediocre.
Right? And I'm not saying that Jayden can't be good without the running, but I know a guy like Kyler Murray when he all of a sudden just becomes a pocket passer, meh.
He's not
very
that good.
containable.
Well, I mean,
when
he's
that
this
happens.
tall. I mean, he comes up to the tackle's ass.
Yeah.
But when he runs, he's special.
I know, but I noticed watching him, there's a lot of times where he can run and he just refuses to. Kyler.
Right. And I wouldn't want that to be Jayden Daniels' plight.
I don't think that'll be the issue. I think the play will be there and he'll execute it.
All right, we'll take some of your calls next. We're making this a binary decision. A binary choice.
Mm-hmm.
Jayden Daniels wins the MVP in his second season, or he has a sophomore slump. Your call's next at 800-636-1067.